Hey, Legionnaires, this is Jim and Jay coming at you with a special news announcement for the Legion. So we have some big news this weekend from New York Comic Con. What happened, Jay?
Well, we got really exciting news. So we're recording this on October 12th. The big news happened the day before on October 11th, just to make sure if you're listening, you don't think we're like a week behind. The big announcement that came from New York City Comic Con is that the Legion of Superheroes are coming back in March 2026. I was hoping that this was going to hit. I was hoping this news was coming. Couldn't be happier to see this.
Well, I'm wondering if it's not March, but sometime just after March, because the way it looked when I was looking at those slides that were on the internet, there were a whole bunch of titles that said March 26th for the new, I guess, the follow-up to All In that's coming out, or the follow-up to DCKO. I'm not exactly sure what all these different events are from a structure perspective, but the slide after said coming soon, the Legion of Superheroes. And so I take that as any time after that. But yeah, Joshua Williamson, who we just did a whole special episode here on the Legion of Darkseid, is going to be the writer.
Yeah. And apparently this is like a dream job for him.
Yes.
He's been saying he's always wanted to write the Legion. He's really excited. I thought it was really nice when they revealed that he had actually gone to Mark Waid and basically asked for his blessing. Are you cool with this? And Waid was like, definitely, like, go nuts.
He said it was always going to be you.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny. It sounded like something from a rom-com or something.
Yeah, or like it almost sounded almost like a gangster movie. Like that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Gangster, like, I need your permission to do this. Is this okay? And you know,
we just don't want to have
Godfather.
You broke my heart sequence.
Yeah,
after
yeah. You know, and it's like, well, that was probably the speech to Bendis afterwards. You broke my heart, Brian. Why did you do this? So instead, we get this news. So just in case for anybody who wants to kind of poo-poo this, we are going to be really positive today. I'm really excited. Everything that I'm hearing is great. The idea that they're saying that this is going to be a team for everybody, all the fans are going to be happy. That's really exciting because it's always the fear. I'm always worried with any Legion reboot that they're going to focus on. Well, I mean, let's face it. Historically, it's always been, hey, let's focus on the Silver Age and screw everybody else. And not doing that will be a nice touch. So I'm going to ask you this, Jim, who do you want to see on this? Like, what kind of team construction would make you the happiest?
I would love to see the team that we saw in the Infinitus saga from Justice League United, like almost 10 years ago, right? Which was effectively what that was. It was the OG team that we saw through the Baxter series and into, I guess you could even say, into the retro boot, but also had inserted with it the unique Legionnaires that were introduced from not just the post-Zero Hour reboot, but the original Legionnaires that were set in the original continuity. So you had people like Dragon Mage and Cat's Paw and folks like that. That's the team that I want to see, because I want to see something that has something that no matter where you came into the Legion, you can connect with the characters. You know, for us older readers, right? I mean, for the newer readers, everybody's going to be new to them, right? So that should be fun. But at some point, this will have somebody for everybody. We got to have Gates. You know what I mean? You can't have a Legion without Gates today. That's just how it is. How about you? Who are you looking for? I
agree completely. I think there's so many great character dynamics that they could play off. And I mean, after doing the reread of 3-Boot, and even as I'm getting into the retro boot stuff, like you mentioned Gates, and all I kept thinking was, I would love to see a scene of Gates and Wildfire on a mission together. Like, to me, like that is comedy gold. And that is, right. Like moments like that where you just feel like they've just kind of missed this. And there's so many good characters that they can have fun with, that they can play around with. I think we've made no secret of the fact that we love, Kinetics and Excess and all of these characters from Reboot. And I want to see them all back. Like, if you're going to have a Gold Lantern, and why not have a Flash character? Why not have somebody who's connected? And I'm really positive on that when you think of that last chapter, or maybe not the last chapter of the Legion of Darkseid, where you've got Dawnstar and Kinetics and Gold Lantern and Brainiac 5s. And so you can tell he's pulling everybody together.
Exactly. That's what I was most heartened by, right? Is that the fact that Joshua Williamson can at least do the research and know what's kind of important and what is interesting about these different eras of the Legion and bring them in. So he had, like you said, you had Kinetics from the post-Zero Hour team. He had Gold Lantern from the Bendis time frame, right? And not only that, but the thing that I really appreciated, and I think I mentioned this last time when we had Logan on, and we talked about this, is that when we had all of the Brainiacs, he literally had every Brainiac 5 from every era in a frame on a page. Each of them talked in a distinctive voice, and the voice was appropriate to that particular era of the Legion. So, like, the 3-boot Brainy was this giant jerk, right, that had no morals. It was very amoral. Whereas the other ones had their own various different discussion points. And I was grateful to see that, because that means that he cares about what he's putting on the page to do that level of research. So that gave me a lot of good hope. Although I guess it's still going to be seen, how this all shakes out, who we end up seeing, because there were a lot of leftover characters at the end of that arc. So we'll have to see how everything resets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that there's going to be a complete reset, and you're going to have, I mean, there's already been comments from other DC people that have said, like, the Legion are coming back to the main DC universe. It's going to be part of the regular titles. I'm kind of assuming they're going to fit under the Superman umbrella. It would just make the most sense. The other thing that the other positive that I really wanted to get out here, and another reason why I'm excited, is for the first time in a long time, they're writing the Legion as the powerful characters that they are. Like, he's given Saturn Girl more strength than I'm trying to remember the last time that I saw that really kind of stood out. Just in those 3 issues, like, if you don't walk away thinking like, this woman is an incredible badass, I don't know what you're reading.
Yeah. And
if he's writing them to that level, like if he's writing them to where they deserve to be, especially if he's writing them, I mean, let's say like early 20s, like if he goes that, they should definitely be in that world. So that's another big one for me that I'm like, okay, this is going to be good.
Yeah. There's a lot to be interested in and hopeful for. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, right? Because I don't want to be just crushed and disappointed or anything. From everything I've seen so far, I think there's some really good signs and really good portends here with regards to where this can go. At the end of the day, and I said this on Blue Sky, there's 2 things I really want, is that for this to be really, really good. And the other thing I want is for the younger readers to really like this team and really like these stories, because that's when we have both of those things, that's going to ensure that the Legion stays around.
I agree. And so that's why I want, like, I was thinking about this after the announcement, like what I really wanted to see. And I want to see a Legion that looks forward, that doesn't look back. Mm-hmm. And I want to see them push everything. Like, I've made this comment multiple times, I think both on the podcast and in my own articles. I want a sci-fi book that pushes the sci-fi. I want to read this and go, holy cow, this is something I've never seen in a comic book before. And I've always said, when you're doing who's the smartest person in the DC universe, if it's not Brainiac 5, it means the writers have completely ruined the character.
Yeah.
Because he's from 1,000 years in the future. Like, it shouldn't be comparable. We shouldn't be seeing anything that we're seeing. Like, the other big announcement for Joshua Williamson as well is he's taking over Iron Man, which, as somebody who grew up with writers and artists only working for one company, this kind of blows my mind a little bit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Doing all of this. If he's not writing Legion as, like, if you're seeing the same thing on Iron Man that you're seeing in the Legion, I don't want to see that. I want to see the Legion being as creative and as crazy as it can be. So that's why when I think about artists, or I think about who I want on that book, I just want artists that are going to push it as well. Let's have some fun. Let's reach out. Let's make sure we're reaching to the kids. So the kids are like, so the young reader, I shouldn't say kids, the young readers are like, holy cow, this is a great concept. You know, we've seen it compared to, what is it, My Hero Academia. We've seen it compared to, like, embrace that, like embrace those sides of the book and have.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and not to make the comparison of writers, but I'd love to see the kind of storytelling that we saw with Hickman on his Avengers run from back in the day, right? Because that was super cosmic. You had all kinds of things going on. Everybody you could tell who all the characters were. You didn't have any problem figuring out which character was doing what. And so if you have that level of approach to scope and impact of what these kind of stories can do, like you said, it's 1,000 years in the future. You can literally do anything you want and make it look really amazing. But the other thing too, and this is going to be interesting when we talk about we don't know if it's going to happen, right? But if it's going to be like what we're talking about, this group of merged teams where you have OG and reboot uniques and some Bendis characters, let's not get stuck in continuity problems anymore. You talked about, not reaching back to the Silver Age. It's like, yeah, let's pick and choose what we want to have from a continuity perspective. And this is something that every other DC book has done, right? Batman's done it, Superman's done it, Justice League's done it, over the last 20 years. Said, hey, we like this piece of it, we don't like this piece of it, we're going to ignore that. But Superman always died by Doomsday's hand. Some of this other stuff may or may not have happened, but we don't care about that. Let's not be dogmatic about continuity at all.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a good story is more important than being slaves to something that was written 40 years ago.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
I'd much rather get an amazingly good science fiction team book with compelling characters. And if it doesn't perfectly match what we've seen before, cool. Like, that's good. Like, just give me, I think every character has sort of their keystones that you want to sort of keep, that you say, like, okay, like, again, we've mentioned Gates a couple times. Gates should not be happy. Gates should not be happy that he's there. He should be complaining all the time, because it's a great counterbalance to all of these other members who are like, I'm a Legionnaire, this is awesome. And then you have this guy going, I can't believe I'm here, I got recruited. Like, that's a great dynamic, and you don't want to give that up. But if they were to start off and just say Karate Kid is still alive again, because they keep bringing him back, and he's dating somebody who's not the Princess Projectra analog, I'm like, okay, as long as you're telling me a good story and this all works, I'm good.
Right. Tell us
right?
Why. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
like, just have some fun
why
with
they
it.
like
right?
each other.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Right. I think that's, and make changes that push the boundaries. Like, I know everybody was angry. Like, for example, when Projectra became Censor and became a snake, everybody was angry. But then after you reread it, you're like, this actually kind of stands out on the page a little bit better, and it makes the book slightly more interesting. Don't change that. Yeah, have fun and push boundaries and take what you want from the past and ignore the stuff that you don't. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see Ultrogan ever again in my life. Right? Come on. Let's not ever have that stuff happen again. But like you said, we have to have some level of soap opera. We have to have some space opera, right? That's really kind of what we're talking about, superhero space opera. And let's have fun.
Yeah. Again, you've got 50 characters before you even start, right?
Yeah.
To play with. Like, you could literally just sit there and say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Pick your key. Let's say that he sticks with 22. Pick your key 22 Legionnaires, or expand it and say, I'm going to have everybody in here and let's make it a big schmoz and have fun, right? Have fun.
I know
with
we've said this before. Rotate your, have a core set. You're going to have a big blowout story to begin with, of course, right? But have your follow-on storylines. You pick 6. Tell a story for a couple of issues. Go do different 6 characters. Tell some stories. That's what I'd love to see. And let's have a lot of fun with this. I'm really excited.
I was actually thinking a great take on this was what they're doing with the new Batman series, where it's just one issue stories, right? Like, just boom, 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 and just be like, here's 6 one issue story, over and done. Okay. And just spend like the first year just establishing everything. And so anybody can jump on at any time. Like, there's no, hey, you got to buy the last 6 issues. Just have some fun with this. This is why I keep saying, like, break it. Like, break what we've all kind of gotten used to and just push.
Yeah. Well, it's like what Jeff Moy said when we talked to him last week. Let's have another Legionnaire stories if it's popular, where every issue focuses on a particular Legionnaire and something that they're going with, or a couple of them, and there are a couple of buds going on a road trip or something like that, and fun happens. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Dream World. If we're going to go Dream World, then there'll be the second title and it'll focus on individual characters.
Exactly.
Because it'll work, right? That's the big thing that I just want to see. Let's find something that gets the people out to read the book. And if it's making Dan Mora draw another cover, or if it's making like just tying him to his computer and going, we don't care that you're already pumping out 60 pages a month.
Keep drawing, damn it. Keep drawing.
Pump out another one. Or just sit there and say, we're going to do whatever we can to get people back here. So if it's a huge crossover with Superman, or a huge crossover with Action Comics, and use both of those and just push this as hard as you can and get the fans excited and make it accessible, right?
Although, while I do love the idea of Dan Mora doing this monthly, I don't want to kill the man. So
no. I've actually said this, like, I would love to see them find a new talent and and just let this person run and just say, like, we've got somebody who's got this great visual style. Like, when they brought Coipel on, like, his inking didn't help him out in the beginning, but by the time you could see this guy develop, and I'd love to see that on this book.
Yep. Yeah. For sure.
And DC knows these names better than I do, so I'm not even going to try to guess them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be like, have some fun. All right. So overall, super positive. We are really
Yes.
excited. We are going to update news as we hear it. And we may have some surprises in the future on this podcast regarding this title. And I'm just going to say it's just going to be a cliffhanger at that.
Yep.
Otherwise, I think that's all we've got to say today. So to end off this podcast, long live the Legion.
Long live the Legion indeed.
Hey.
Oh, hey, Jeff.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, talking about Superman.
Oh, cool. I could talk about Superman.
I could talk some more about Superman.
We know.
I'll bet a few people would want to get in on this.
I'm down.
You know it.
That sounds like fun. I'll do it.
Cool, let's do it. We can call the show Men of Steel.
And you can find it at certainpov.com.
Or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yay.
CPOV.
certainpov.com.